oh man, I'm just about ready to go out and finally, after many days, have a freaking day of sunshine, meditation, and everything. But before I leave, they told me to record this. They said, explain to the people and to yourself the following concept. There is a type of energy that gathers in the body, and like this. So, when you're full of it, you feel the double meaning there. When you're full of it, not full of the, full of it, but when you're full of this energy, it brings about joy, and technically speaking, it brings about a desire and tendency towards rhythmical, melodic expression, if that makes sense to you. And I hope it does. Because here's what I'm saying. I've been exploring the universe and the insides of my mind and my memories and everything for concepts that would make sense. And what I got is that there's two kinds of energy in the known universe. And I hope you can see this. Or if not, I hope you can see this other one. Any visibility? Minimal. Anyway. So it's two kinds of energy, and it goes... One of them is melodic, so it has to do with rhythmical, harmonious, rhythmical, in tune signals with itself. Oh boy, now we're talking. And with the rest of network, with the energy of the rest of network. Okay, so if you have a neuron that's firing like this, it's going to be firing in tune with everybody else. Okay, so that their signals, oh my god, so you have two of these guys, two of these neurons, and if they're firing towards something, they're firing at the same time or at compatible rates. And you can feel this and think about this musically, okay? You can think about it like Psytrance, for instance. Right? You see what's happening here? It's like two hits of this guy, two impulses, two signals from this guy, and it goes right? It just goes Psytrance. Neurons that fire like this, or people who are full of this type of energy, their movements and their verbal sound signals, their song in bird terms, will be coherent with themselves, internally with themselves, and with the rest of the group. Okay, so if you're in a crowd, you're not going to fire your until you hear some sort of rhythm that's around you, okay, so that you can amplify the rhythm that you like and form a bond of some sort. If I could just get my bond color here, you form a bond of some sort with this guy here. It's the same damn color. Okay, never mind. But you get the point. You form a magical bond here, which is made basically by rhythm and by attention. So it's something like, we're not holding hands, we're not doing anything, but I'm paying attention to you, and hopefully you are paying attention to me in some way. Or, this is quite important, or you're paying attention to yourself at least, and you're internally consistent. You maintain your rhythm. You maintain a direction, right? And if you're internally consistent, then I can follow your lead as a neuron here, as an entity, I can follow your lead and we can go together, we can fire signals together, and it's going to be a wonderful melody. That's one type of energy that gathers in the body, in the neurons. It's one style of firing signals, okay? But I believe it's a type of energy. The other type of energy is dissonant. So it is basically inhibitory of other signals, if that makes sense. So if there's a melody going on here, let's say inside this same neuron or this same human, which is completely invisible here, but I'll probably post a picture, there's a different type of energy that is aimed at, let's say, dissonance. Oh man, this is interesting. It's dissonant or disharmonious with this one melody, with this one thing. Now, it's probably, possibly at least, harmonious with something else. So there's a different kind of neuron here that would fire some sort of signals that's harmonious with this guy. And so while this neuron is following this level of energy or this melody here, it will fire according to this green guy here. While it's following this one, it will fire signals like this in a very different frequency with this guy here. And these melodies may or may not match. What am I saying here is that, let's say there's this type of energy that's more aggressive, dominant, male, I suppose, trying to control, and basically it's trying to overpower things, trying to overpower a group. Like if 3 people here are singing Kumbaya, I'm gonna come, if I'm full of this red energy, I'm gonna say things like, stop it, right? Stop it, do as I say, right? Bam, wham. And this is, it has a tendency to cut melody, right? To cut melody and to control. It has a sort of rigidity. I suppose this would be then lower energy, or let's say male energy. It's more rigid, more solid, but also the thing is, it's more boring. Like, because this is so rigid, it will tend to impose patterns that are rigid, like let's say a square or a hexagon or something that's stable over time and static, okay? And this will tend to fluctuate. The green energy will tend to, boy, is any of this visible? Fuck it. So it will tend to fluctuate. And if this is rigid and thus boring, and this other thing is fluctuating and melodious and sine wave and rhythmical, okay, now we're getting it. Now we're getting it. Now, so if it's rhythmical, this is the melody, and this is the like the physical, the hardware. This is like ice, and this is like water, or even vapor, air, whatever. This is particle. Oh my lord! This is particle, the red energy. This would be particle, and this would be wave. So a sort of knowledge of waves, if that makes sense, a knowledge of sound, rhythm, and melody gives you more of this energy, the green stuff. Now, to my mind, I think they're probably, on a universal scale, they're both important, because you need some sort of stability sometimes, and you need some sort of life and energy and wave patterns and movement and dance some other times, okay? So there's a correct or favorable ratio, useful or fun ratio between these two energies at any one time. And I believe one thing that nature wants from us, or it tries to teach us, is to be flexible. To be flexible with this energy. Like if If this is your tribe person, if this is the same team, same tribe, same family, if this is your lover, you want to have a high degree of ability of being melodious with them. If this guy is, so if some other guy is your enemy or their enemy or whatever, you want to have a high degree of stopping power, if that makes sense. Like a gun, okay? Exactly like a gun or a spear or something. Like you want to have very effective stopping signals when you need them, and also very effective harmonious signals when you need them. So in neurological terms, I guess this red energy or this fixing things would could be considered inhibitory. Like you find a bunch of people doing something, a bunch of neurons doing something, and you're just the stopper. You club everybody over the head. Stop it! Stop it! Ugh. And you can probably feel the parent, the aggressive parent voice in this concept. Like a parent that says that inhibits all. No, stop it! Stop that! It's full of this energy. It's full of it. And a parent that's like, hey, more melodious, like, hey, dude, what's up? More friendly, like this. It's more full of this energy. What am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is that living like this with waves is extremely healthy. It's like, again, there's a balance between these. This green wave energy is not by any means perfect. And I'd like to bring to attention the dodo bird, the extinct dodo bird, which had basically it was pretty good for many millions of years, apparently, until the Dutch people showed up. The humans, Dutch people, settlers, whatever, showed up. Because what happens is first of all, they were hunters and they like birds, to eat birds, and they just club them over the head and kill them. And the dodo birds, I think, to my mind, were quite full of this kind of green energy and not too much suspicion, fear, aggression, stuff like that. Because their context was so chill and green, because they were so large for their small island that nobody was basically messing with them, nobody was killing them and eating their brains, they didn't have to develop a strong aggressive an inhibitory or fear or aggressive energy system. And so when the Dutch people showed up, and when their rats showed up, and all kinds of weird predators that they were not prepared for, they just killed them off. It was like free ice cream. Okay, so all green is not the way to go. You just need to have this available, the red energy, and to not have it more active and more on than you need to have it, if that makes sense. So, how does this work? Okay, how this works is rhythmical activity as opposed to frozen in fight or flight, or suspicion or worry. I'm going to say, like, the problems that I've been looking at for quite a long time, like anxiety, like what Americans and people call anxiety or depression or stuff like that, has to do with basically a loss of rhythm, a diminishing of rhythm that, hold on, let me bring forth the channeling here. So a diminishing of rhythm that has them sighing, right? Or right, when you're like this, it's like some kind of either excess electric energy in the system or insufficient energy in the system, and excess will just leave you like tremoring like this, and so the ends of your wings will be, I don't know if you can see it on this webcam, but there'll be tremors, and you'll be like this. But it's uncoordinated and unmelodious. So that's excess energy, and insufficient electric energy and charge will give you Okay, so that's more like depression. Okay, and you have various people who, if you graph this stuff, you can get like bipolar, which is the jumping from too much energy to too little energy, right? Just too much, too little, too much, too little, too much, too little. This is somebody that, in a sense, has lost their melody, has lost their rhythm, has lost their way and their dance. Like they don't have a song inside themselves, a rhythm inside themselves that is pleasant to dance to. Like this, right? So, what am I saying here? I'm saying here that the re-establishing of this green energy type of rhythm, the sine wave, the big sine wave of life, is extremely healthy, protects us from depression, long-term anxiety, nervousness, and all that stuff. And it's really good for our lymphatic circulation, our oxygenation, because we dance and we move, our hydration, if we drink our nice water. It makes the Reiki flow through you. Oh my freaking god. This is unbelievable. So, okay. Final addition to this. And this is, I think, quite important. It is this. I still don't know how to pronounce it. Either the primer fields or the primer fields. Jury is still out on that. I'll have to rewatch the video. But the primer fields, the thing that says if you have two magnets of a certain shape, like this conical shape thing, whatever, then at a certain distance they will form a certain kind of field between them, like this, between them, so between the two poles of this weird magnet. And at the middle of this, you'll have something like a galaxy, which is a shape that gathers layers of electrons that spin in orderly fashion. You see what I'm saying here? So it has to do with one thing and another thing. So it's two things at a certain distance, facing each other in the right way. This is quite important. So it doesn't work if you spin. This is not just a distance thing, it's an attention thing, like a focus thing. If you have this sort of focus, then in the middle of this field, you'll have a shape like a galaxy forming, an attraction of material objects. So this is a field, it's a morphogenetic field that will make things dance, in a sense, just like electrons dance around the nucleus of an atom. So the primer field. Now what I'm saying here is this. There is a type of electric energy in the body that does this exact precise thing. And we, the humans, or electrons, or what have you, we function while using this energy just like these primer fields magnets here. And what the function of that is that we can make things happen between us. Okay, we can make these network connections between us, and to the extent that the distance is right and the orientation of the magnets is right, and this whole thing with the complex system signals, the melody is right, then then this is magic. This attracts into play stable playing. Like a stable flow of matter. It affects matter in a stable way. It creates loops and systems that are stable and growing because they're stable. They keep attracting. They are attractive. And this other energy is basically disruptive and repulsive. So it makes this thing fall to pieces. It makes the equivalent of a star exploding, an atom falling apart, or a molecule just blowing to shit. Pardon my French. And what is happening is that this is magic. Now this will require more videos to express properly. I have it in my head, but to actually express it here so it makes sense, it will be a different thing. So what you have here in humans, in a certain way, is two primer fields type magnets that do go on and off. So they're not always on like physical magnets. They're on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off. And the rules that apply here are as follows. You have a certain amount of energy in your system, in your neurons, the action potentials and everything, and you can fire, right? You can be on. Now, let's say you have, if the electric signal here were water, okay? Let's say you have, it's a finite amount of water, and you can splash people from a cup all at once, like this is a huge signal, or you can take the same amount of water, put it in a water pistol, and squirt these tiny water signals, right? And you can use the same cup of water for large signals, for one large signal, or for many, many tiny signals. Or you can use it as a continuous jet, actually. Right? Now, observe that if you take water from a cup and you have some sort of gun that fires it in a continuous jet, that jet will be quite weak. So you have a function here that goes intensity over time. Like you can make large, like intense signals that are very short. You can make continuous streams that are very weak. And you can make anything in between, like medium strength, medium length signals, and really anything in between. Boy, is this visible at all? Yeah, it's kind of visible. So what I'm saying is this. You have two magnets here. Each of them is, so this can be neurons or it can be humans, doesn't matter. Or animal, anything. Each of them has this on-off switch. So if you do on-off really fast and really fire it, then you have a super strong blast of energy. Bam! This other new magnetic thing here, well, for the magic to happen, oh, this is quite interesting. For the primer field magic to happen, for magic to attract into play these things, the magic has to be on, the primer field magic type effect, energy has to be on from both sources, this magnet and this magnet. Oh man, I don't know how visible this is. At the very same time. Yeah, and at the... Yeah, oh boy. Okay, so two magnets, again, I'll make them more visible. Primer field magnets are this shape. It's a half sphere with a hole in it of some sort, and more complex things, geometry after that. But this is the basic shape, which you still, can you see or not? Yes, okay. Between them, between this pole and this pole, we form the primer field magic, like this. In the middle of it, you have the rotating thingy that attracts the electrons, atoms, whatever. And, and how does this work? Okay, and behind the primer field magic you have a different process altogether, which looks kind of like an 8. So you have, if we zoom out of this, the particles that go here like this, from magnet to magnet, they have a large field out here. Oh man, this is too much information in many ways. No, it's not. I can make it. It looks, if you zoom out, it looks like an 8. It looks like a sort of 8, or many 8s that just all converge in the center of this one thing. Is this at all visible? I hope it is. Okay, so what's happening is that you have like every photon and every atom and everything has its own primer field thing around it. Everything in nature that, according to this experiment, everything in nature is of this shape, basically. Two things that between them have a physical manifestation here, but at either side of both poles there's a thing, probably I would say as large as the universe, Of course, it fades over distance, so it's not really that that easy to detect. But every photon, every atom, everything has this field here, and they use them to align, like photons align by these fields, like this. They go in a line, and quantum slit experiments will be easily explained if you use this theory. And what's happening is, okay, so we have this problem of, in order to make the magic happen between these two things, they will have to synchronize. They will have to synchronize signal to signal. So to get this much magic, if the green guy is one magnet firing this amount of signal, then if the red guy fires the same exact signal at the same time and same intensity, or comparable intensity at least, but same duration and as high intensity as it goes, then the result in real life is something like this amount of magic. It just goes through the roof because they enter resonance, they amplify each other, and you get, with a little bit of energy spent, you get more than double your effect back. Or certainly more than, okay, if you work alone, you spend this much energy and you get this much effect. But if you work with somebody else, with the rest of network, and you find something to bounce your signal off, you will get a lot more effect. You will get this sort of thing starting to happen. So the magic is basically starting to create effect in real time. And if both of these guys fire at, so they're attentive to the game, they shut everything else, and they fire these signals, then you get these massive effects. Okay? So the issue is that the synchronizing problem between these two is quite amazing. All of nature does this. If you look at bird dances, if you look at all kinds of things, they're basically playing with the primer field magnets in the following way. They're changing distance. Okay? They are changing distance. They're changing intensity of signal, so how strong and how loud they fire. Okay? And they change the length of signal. Like if you say, for instance, ow! Right? Ow! So it has a certain intensity. How loud is the sound? How long is the sound? And it's something like, how many times do I make this thing? Because if I do this all day, 5 times maybe it's funny. 1, 2, 3 times it's funny. If I do this 25 times with no variation and no nothing, it's like a ticking clock. I'm repeating myself. It gets blah, it gets boring. So, because it has no growth. It has reached a plateau or something. So they work with distance, that's one variable. Intensity of signal, that's another variable. Length of signal. Length of signal. Length of signal is another one. With the mention that intensity and length of signal are basically mutually inhibitive in a sense. Like the more intense the signals, the less long a time you can keep them up for, because signaling requires energy, which is limited. So you have this, and you have variety of signals. Okay, variety of signals. Now, if your signals on one end of one signaler, one of these magnets, if your signals are completely varied, like maybe they make sense to you, but to the other person they look like they're completely ununderstandable. You are basically speaking Chinese to an Iranian audience. It doesn't work. Or you're speaking Iranian to a Chinese audience. There's no communication there. There's signaling. It may be internally consistent, like you're saying some really cool shit in Chinese or in Iranian. Is that even a language? Arabic, something? Anyway, you get what I'm saying. I'm talking languages here. So you may be saying some really cool shit, but in a language that don't understand. So the variation of signals, the language being used with signals here doesn't match the audience. So I believe this is how magic flows, and you can notice this effect in so many different applications. You can notice this primer field's energy playing effect in especially bird mating games. Very easy to spot and notice. You can notice it in wolf behavior when they howl together as a team to harmonize. Okay, this is together at a reasonably close distance. Right? And if everybody howls along just properly, just fine, they are going to balance out their howling with each other. Every bit of neurology in that pack of wolves will know how everybody sounds by their sound, so that when they go hunting together and one of those wolves just does something, they'll know by sound without having to look which wolf is at which distance and in which emotional state. Like, are they owning it? Are they dominant? Or are they being owned? Is there a problem? What's happening? So what's happening here, oh my lord, this is quite interesting, is that you have a, oh man, whoa. So if you are this one primer field magnet here, you have obviously your forward attention, right? So you're doing your forward thing with the looking. Where you're looking, it's like your forward field, like this. Or a second one is where you're touching, okay? So if you have several of these, okay? You have, where you're looking is one center of your primer field magic. And I think you are giving out energy. You're also taking it back. Giving out, taking it back. And that's why if two people stare at each other, first of all, when you lock eyes, things happen, information gets exchanged. And this is effective and comfortable at certain distances and not at others. If it's too distant, it doesn't work. If it's too close, it becomes uncomfortable. You can't maintain eye contact. And let's say you close the eyes, you can still work primer field magic quite effectively if you work by touch, by feeling. You can punch people, you can play with people like lovers do. There's a lot of this thing going on, right? This is all primer field electric magic being exchanged and balanced and so on and so forth. So, and another aspect of this is, let's say, hearing. It's 360 around this. Hearing is 360 around this. So, what's happening is that if we're using, let's say, we're wolves, we're using this forward. The main senses, the forward main senses we're using for the hunt to take down prey, and we're using the peripheral senses to communicate with each other instinctively, naturally, just by flow, just to have like a group mind, a hive mind of the pack together. Then if the hive mind is strong and balanced and harmonized together and stable with each other, then we don't need to look at each other that much and lose sight of the trap, of the prey, you know? So if it's a new pack of wolves, they don't know each other, or there's 3 new guys there and 2 old guys, and everybody doesn't know what everybody else is doing, they don't trust each other yet, they have to keep looking back and forth, like, hey, where's this? Where's it's like you just have a lot of movement, and you cannot keep, as a group, eyes stable on the prey. Okay? Now, here's what I'm saying. Oh my lord, this is epic. Here's what I'm saying. Most of this information that I'm receiving through downloads, channeling, and meditation. Hold on. It's kind of information that applies universally, as above, so below. So you can apply the same principles to an atom, you can apply the same principles to a photon, to a wolf, to a bird, to a human, to a neuron. So you can change the magnification scale and the dynamics and the processes will still apply. What I'm saying is this. If you think of the pack of wolves aiming forward at one prey and being connected with each other by other means other than just looking, that pack of wolves will be highly effective. If the pack of wolves is not basically synchronized and harmonized together well, they have to basically resynchronize by looking. Okay, they have to resynchronize by looking in the middle of the hunt. They have to know what the other guy is doing because they don't feel instinctively what the guy's doing. They don't know instinctively the guy that well to simulate in their head and to have a good hunch about what they were doing, where they might be, and so they have to resynchronize mid-hunt. That resynchronization breaks contact with the prey, giving it time to escape. So you can think of it as there's this magic happening between the wolf and the prey. Okay? If, like from a good pack, you can't escape because ideally they're healthy wolves. They're going to be electrically charged because they've rested, so they can fire energy at you, you know, at the ground. They're coming at you. You see, this is, everybody's synchronized, so all the steps and everything. You feel the same thing happening as the psytrance, as the music. So everything is going in tune, melodious with each other. Right? And it's 5 of them, and they work in unison. So there's like, there's a drummer wolf, there's a bass wolf, there's a, you know, like everybody's working together, and they're coming at you, and they have a melody that's so strong and consistent that it's quite difficult for you to escape. Now, what if it's a pack of 5 wolves, and the wolves are 4 smart ones and a moron? Then if the moron does something that pisses off the other 4 smart wolves, you, the rabbit, or whatever you are, will have time to escape. And here's the link, here's the big connection that I want to make, is that our brains, the neurons in our brains are precisely, okay? They are precisely like a pack of wolves. Oh my God, epic. So this is what I wanted to get out of myself, and let me assure you that network rewards this. It may or may not reward this particular video, but because I have now this information, I can put it in maybe more nicely done videos to share it with the humans, I guess, which are, unlike nature, unlike most of the rest of nature, the humans kind of lost track with this information because they don't practice it as much. And here's what I'm saying. Humans don't howl that much together. You see what I'm saying? Humans talk a lot. Blah, 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 blah. Which is a it's a rudimentary form of bird song or wolf howl, as far as this is concerned. This type of magic, this wave magic here. Okay, so if you graph intensity of signal in human talking and compare to if you compare the 2 methods of communication, one of them will be significantly stronger. Now, how does this connect? And I'm probably going to have to end this because it is a day of sunshine and We're nearing 40 minutes here, but it's fine. I'm fine with this. Whoever needs this information will watch it. Even with the bad drawings and everything, they will watch it. They will watch it like it's Reiki flowing through them. Whoever doesn't, if you don't like the video, it's too long, it's too boring, it's too whatever, I'm rambling too much, leave. It's fine. You are not my pack. My pack will know my voice. What I'm saying is, firing many human talk signals like this will give you a weaker wolf howl. So, had I just come here and howled into my camera for a few minutes, saying nothing else, no verbal language, my howls would have been much clearer, okay? Louder, clearer, sharper. And I'm getting to that point. It just might take a few months or years, depending on the audience, how much people get what I'm saying. Because in real life, if I'm in the park somewhere and I howl at you, it will work. Howling hits certain kinds of chakras and areas of the body that enter resonance, and they are aligned, even if they've been misaligned for months or years. If you hear a proper howl and it's compatible with yours, which may have to do with reincarnation and past lifetimes together and so on, so familiarity, if you hear that howl, it will realign you and reawaken pack instinct in you. You see what I'm saying here? Like, a lone wolf will go around the forest and seek something, look for something, for a certain kind of familiarity, either by smell or by sound or by vision. And if they hear somebody that's of an equal strength level to themselves, okay, like they howl a certain way, ow! And if they hear it bounced back, right, well, then what happens is we have communication here. Maybe we can be friends, okay? Even if we don't know each other yet. Sound is quite safe to use at a distance. If I like the way you howl, and you like the way I howl, okay? I see opportunity here. We are 4 dudes and we have an idiot. But over there, we hear a guy that howls smart. If you get my drift. If you're a wolf yourself, you will get what I'm saying. You have a pack of 4 idiots, 4 smart wolves and an idiot, and somebody howls smart. And it's in our best interest, our 4 dudes here, to make contact with the smart guy for many reasons. First of all, we may not need the idiot anymore. Or maybe this smart guy, this 5th smart guy here, maybe he can teach our idiot guy how to be smart like him, because we obviously failed in teaching him, because if we didn't fail, he'd be smart now, right? So the stronger the smart vibe in this pack, the more the strong smart primer fields and electric fields around these 4 or 5 smart wolves will put pressure on this idiot guy to either smarten up or die or leave, okay, and be cast out. By being cast out, the wolf magic and the wolf system of doing things, I'm seeing it now, is very, very smart. Because what happens is, nature has a way of solving problems quite elegantly. It's basically, you smarten up, or you die. You see what I'm saying here? So you have a pack of 5, let's say potentially 5 smart wolves and an idiot. Now, either the strong guy will accept this idiot or not. Maybe he's super smart and it's really much more valuable than the idiot, and he will cast this idiot out of the pack, or he'll smarten him up. He'll bite his face off until he gets smart or something. He'll keep him in line, okay? Keep him in line. And the thing is, if the idiot guy gets cast out of the pack, then he must, by necessity, start to what's the call here? What's the name here? To rely on himself for food. So he has to get smart really fast by pressure or die. You know. And the thing is, if this pack is now 4 and then plus 1, 5 smart wolves, and the idiot is left, is cast out, is ejected from the pack, well, maybe if the idiot spends a year hunting for himself, having to hunt for himself, having to be silent, quiet, not waste signal. That's what I mean by silent, not waste signal. Be attentive, sharp, so that you can actually get that freaking rabbit, because you haven't eaten in a week, and in another week maybe you die. So if the idiot spends a year on his own, right, hunting on his own, smelling, sniffing, being on his own, keeping watch on his own, to not get, I don't know, assaulted by bigger wolves or whatever, he will in that year get smarter or die. So the nature works really nice. And when he returns from that year, maybe they recognize him, or he recognizes these guys, and then they can make a pack of 6 smart wolves. Really nicely done. Now, the neurons in our head, and this is what I'm gonna, I think, wrap the video up with. The neurons in our head are a pack of wolves. Okay? They are a pack of wolves. Now, what's happening is meditation, or other activities where the neurons can be focused on each other like this. Now, whether it's some sort of yoga or tai chi or dancing like this or juggling or spinning poi, or like any activity that synchronizes the neurons in order to flow well, to dance well, for things to happen really nicely, any activity like that will make a stronger pack of wolves that has the following effect. When you go out to interact with other packs, other wolves, to prey, the things you want in life, right? That's your prey, you're chasing something. Or you're howling to attract something, right? You're just howling, you're sitting and howling. Or magnetically, you're always howling. Magnetically, seriously, magnetically, you're always howling, you're attracting. If your pack of neurons here is synchronized, energy charged, meaning you haven't wasted a lot of signal with eyeballs, eyes open all the time, or with sound. So if you're synchronized and charged, and obviously smart, the neural network will be smart if it's synchronized and well rested, well fed. Then your magic is highly attractive. People who are, let's say you have, like, I'm 80% of my head is, let's say, synchronized at one point, right? It's a pretty good day. 80% is synchronized, 20% is making noise, bullshit, right? Well, somebody who's running on, maybe they're a drunk, or I don't know, they're running on 50-50 synchronization. 50% of their head is synchronized, 50% is noise, right? Oh, this, oh, I lost my lighter, oh my god, oh crap. They see me at 80 or 90 or any percentage that's more synchronization than themselves, they will want to play. And I believe that this is where, okay, this is what network's trying to tell me and tell you. This is where these two energies that we started with will in fact come into play. Because green energy means neurons that fire melodiously in a synchronized fashion. Red energy means inhibitor neurons that fire, well, not chaotically, but against the main rhythm. Okay? So if this 50-50 person sees me, obviously they have more red in their heads because they're inhibiting their own signals. They're not like this. Their head is not organized like the primal fear. It doesn't all spin in the same direction. It spins some like this and some like this, right? So they're gonna see me at a higher attractiveness and synchronization and energy level than themselves, and they will now have two options. They can come to try and fuck with me, basically. They can come and try to inhibit me to get me down to their bullshit level of 50. So if they can basically dump noise at me, they can irritate me, and to the extent that I don't express that irritation and really leave it out and be free and stay synchronized, I will pick up their noise, right? They come at me, they say some bullshit and they leave before I have time to react. That's one option. So they're trying to get me down. And the other option is they try to get themselves up. You see what I'm saying here? So there's these two main direction into synchronization with network, up or down. It has to do with basically, as I said, watch my words, synchronization with network. Now, the network, the big network of life, you're made of it, I'm made of it, it's the same network. It spans inside your head and outside. So, the more you synchronize with network around you, whether you're chasing prey or whether you're acting destructively or constructively, it doesn't matter. Like, to chase the rabbit, you have to synchronize with the rabbit. If you're desynchronized internally, and you have to, in the pack or in your head, and you have to resynchronize every couple of minutes to regain some sort of synchronization, some sort of coherence. So if your coherence is low, you're going to lose the rabbit. For you to get the rabbit, for you to have hunting performance in your goals, you have to have a high level of synchronization and coordination between your neurons towards that same goal at the same time. You see what I'm saying here? Now, realize that there are inhibiting factors and disrupting factors inside and outside. So, you have, let's say, 5 instincts in your head. Eat, mate, play, rest, whatever. Well, these guys are, in a sense, competing. Or certainly you can't do all of them at the same time. Like, you cannot mate, hunt, eat, play, and sleep at the same time. It doesn't work. You will have to take them one at a time. Now, which one comes first? Again, you have some sort of competition or order or something happening there. If it's disordered, they'll just make noise. You'll have 2 or 3 areas of your head screaming for attention and do me, do me, do me at the same time in the middle of a hunt, right? Oh, that tree is nice in the middle of a hunt. Yeah, well, artistic appreciation is awesome, just at certain times and not others. I mean, it's useful at certain times and not others. What am I trying to say here? Is that network is upgrading towards higher levels of synchronization and energy, higher strength of signal. Okay? Humans have been using talking as their main mode of communication for a long time. Some music, some other things. There's a new kind of human coming along. And I'm going to suggest that it's us. I'm going to suggest that it's actually me and people like me. And this goes, Jesus Christ, man, this video is endless. It goes like, if humans are here, well, realize that every species is splitting off into different branches. Are you seeing it? So this is one branch. This is another branch. And in some number of years from now, long or short, millions or hundreds or thousands or whatever, depends how we play it, we will have different brands of humans. Just like we are now primates, but we have common ancestors with other primates. At some point we were literally in the same tree. Just that we fancied, I don't know, going down the tree more and eating more mushrooms. And these guys fancied staying in the tree and climbing and jumping more, and their arms got bigger and our brains got bigger. You see what I'm saying here? These guys got maybe smaller, we got bigger brains, bigger other things for hunting, for living on the ground. These guys stay in the tree. But at some time we were the same thing, man. We were eating the same thing for a while at least, and mating with each other, and we were literally the same species. So this same process that split here is splitting here. So if you know how to measure these things, which is by nutrition, mode of communication, body voltage, different one, size of electromagnetic and primer field around it. It's just the functional aspects of this primer field magnet. If you measure this, they will split. A talker here that drinks alcohol and smokes cigarettes is very, very, very far removed from a psychedelic tripper that knows how to howl, to sing, to dance, to create, to move in a certain way. It's even if you think the differences are small now, they will eventually group, form packs, and split off. Group, form packs, and split off. And I'm seeing this. I know this to be a fact because I've seen differences growing inside myself that just split off from the rest of mainstream. And I know for a fact that given enough time, mainstream will go one way and we will go another way. I've seen people more advanced on this path than myself. So I know for a fact, because if I'm here, splitting off here, and I see a guy that's actually way more advanced, meaning way more psychedelics, way more meditation, singing and dancing, way better capacity for this kind of magnetic navigation by primer field detection. Okay, magnetic navigation, magnetoreception. If I see it and I know it's possible, and I like it a lot, I will follow him, chase him, take lead on him, and I am, and I do. And I'm sharing this with you because that guy probably doesn't have that much of an online presence because he's an animal, he's in a forest, yeah. What I'm saying is this green energy with melody, proper signal, a lot of synchronization ability goes one way. The current human, let's say the vulgar human of today, splitting here, is doing things like suppressing a lot, suppressing their dance and their howl with cigarettes, alcohol, which are basically low hydration, low electric conductivity tuning molecules, and they talk a lot like this, noise like this, and sing and create art very little. They dance very little. Look at any drunk dancing. They are dancing, but the signals aren't like clean, on, no, the signal is flimsy like this, fluctuating, right? The voice, it's not sharp, you know? The high energy beings like this, you can tell them by the Buddha smile. Well, maybe not quite like this, but a lot of smile. Energy goes in the lower part of the face and is not present in the forehead region as frowning. The lower guys here, you will get as boredom, frowning, sadness, inability to deal with anxiety by other than chemical means. You see these guys here? I hope you do. I'll probably remake some of this video. I'll obviously retell this story many times. I think we've made definite progress here. Almost an hour video, but that's fine. That is fine. Network rewards quality signals all the time. Packs form together around quality signals. So even if I'm not there yet, I know this is the precursor for quality packs, quality wolf packs, quality people of my tribe, birds of my feather, wolves of my howl. So, I'm at a pretty low energy state right now. Okay, downloads and things are still working, but it's still from past things I knew and things like that. I'm just expressing here, but obviously I need a better webcam so you can actually see what I'm doing. Obviously I need much more energy, and this is what I'm going out to figure out, to link up all the neurons in my brain to give myself a synchronized, harmonized, energized neural network by the sun, forest, animals, birds, everything, grass, that then I'll be able to hunt properly for my goals and for my things. There's more stuff that plays into this. There is more stuff that plays into this, like nutrition, omega-3 to omega-6 balance, psychedelics, ayahuasca, mushrooms, San Pedro. All these things are tuning the neural network and bring you towards this kind of human, which I think it's not by any means the one kind of human that will be in existence. No, it's, as I said, a splitting process. It's a splitting process. So choose your nutrition well, choose your behavior well. I suggest meditation. I suggest dancing, playing, following your excitement and your instinct and your intuition as much as you can, because it guides you well, as it guides all of nature well. And just do what you like to do, what you genuinely like to do, and know that whatever you're doing, you will be heading in that direction. If you do things you don't like doing, you're going to go further and further on a path of doing things you don't like doing. There will be more opportunity to do the same things you don't like doing. Keep doing them, you won't like your path. You'll be on a path you don't like. In a pack of people you hate or dislike or just not vibe well with. In a situation, country, place where you don't feel at home. So if you don't feel on the right track, while we're still splitting here, change, move, explore things. Okay. I think you got the point. I'm going to go out, hunt, really hunt for more data, information, and synchronization, harmony, melody. New webcam. Maybe some more people who are into this stuff, and come back here and share with you. Thanks for watching. If there's even one person that watches this to the end, time well spent. If not, even so.